quick draws, depending on again ice quality. But if you're being careful, they make these special things that have different names for different companies. But classically, they're known as what's called a screamer. What the idea is here is that you clip in with this thing, um, but in the event of a fall, you're trying to minimize shock on your piece of gear, right? So you got this loose piece of Velcro that would just rip off. And then if you fell, and you can sort of see this here, the stitching between all of these things is designed to fail at relatively low force amounts. And so basically, all of this weird shape would just sort of extend outward. It just go pop, 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 and extend out into like a line that's like probably like this long. And each one of those pops would absorb some of your falling force, so it spaces out your deceleration over a larger amount of time, and keeps you sort of safer overall. Cool. So next thing that I'll talk about is, so there's one part of the movie where he gets lowered over a cliff, and he's like, oh God, like that point I got my Prussics out, and at this point he hasn't eaten in like 2 days or something, and he's exhausted, and he's got like a badly broken leg. And he's like, I got my Prussics out because I was hanging over a cliff for a while, and I was like, I should ascend out. That dude is a badass. I'm not saying he is not a badass. I would say honestly, his chances of being able to ascend at all in that condition are pretty minimal. But obviously, he's like a ridiculously hardcore human being. So, um, anyway, what he was trying to do is tie Prusik knots, or some people call them Prusiks. I will not fault you either way. But the concept is there. You've got your ascending rope. So let's say that I was that guy, and I'm getting lowered on this green rope right here, which I'll sit on to hold it in view. Um, what I do is I take my rope like this. I've got a loop, a little loop that you can tie with a double fisherman, which I'll probably go over later in class. I take that loop and I thread it around 3 times. So I go 1, 2, and 3, and then pull down. And basically, what this looks like is it'll look just like this. Here you can see it. And then I would clip another piece of webbing in down here. What the idea is with this knot is that if you get 2 of these, basically they lock in one direction. I'm not going to pull really hard because it'll break my bookshelf. But if you get 2 of these, and you clip in a piece of webbing, and you clip it to yourself also, so you're standing on it, and then you're standing on it, and you're clipped in, so you can just like lean back on it also. What you can do is you can stand up, slide it up the rope, and then pull down, and it'll lock. Stand up, it'll slide up, and you pull down, and it'll lock. It's a good knot. It's useful in a lot of circumstances. If you're wearing gloves, though, it is like pretty hard to tie, and if you're super cold, it's also hard to tie. What I would recommend tying instead that accomplishes the same goal would be let's call it climb heist. Some people call it a climb heist, which also is not the right way of saying that. But you take a piece of webbing instead of a piece of cordelette. Take a sewn sling, and this could be a long sewn sling is fine, or a short sewn sling, and then you clip in two attachments to it. You take that, you wrap this around the rope 3 or 4 times. The number of times that you wrap it around doesn't really matter. But if you're using thin webbing, I'd go 4. If you're using less thin webbing, you can just go 3. And then after you've wrapped it around, so I've literally just spiraled down, I just pass the end that I've been wrapping through the end of the tongue. And again, hopefully you guys can see this, my awesome YouTube mastery. Just like to say, I got 28 views on my last thing. I'm waiting for my check from YouTube. Any day now, it will come, and I can just retire and bask in the adulation of internet fame. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, so you've got your climb heist, right? And same concept. It slides up. If you weight the sling, it'll lock. And again, should you ever find yourself lowered off of a cliff and like you're just miserable and sad, this is what I would recommend tying instead of a climb heist, and we'll go over ascending at a later point, probably in my backyard, so I can do it into a tree with this type of stuff. Cool. The other thing that you can do, and I talk about this with the whole canyoneering section, is just bring an ascender. An ascender is a mechanical thing that does the exact same thing. You just go up and continue. So had that guy had an ascender, he would have been in better shape. But when you're doing something like that and you're like that exhausted and out of food, you probably wouldn't want the weight. They have other things that you can use with this too, but just in case you're like, hey, this looks like something that you might use for canyoneering. You do use this for canyoneering. Just bring one of these instead of just bringing some cordelette or some slings. Cool.